Nerd Soul.
Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go because we got a a great show for y'all. Because we sending a crew off into the great beyond the space, but we not by ourselves. That's right. I got with me the cinematic sorcerer Solar Grey. What's up?
Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Solar Grey, the Cinematic Sorcerer, reminding all of y'all not to confuse a desire for understanding with a lack of nerve. Let's get into this.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's an interesting phrase. Since we're going to talk about season 5 as a whole, because we've been off for like a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that. But the finale dropped last week, I think. So matter of fact, go in and give me your thoughts about the season, and then the statement that you're talking about.
I am so mad that they make the last season of the show that says we are not coming back, this is it, the best one yet. I'm like, this is not fair. This is not fair. They even gave us an epilogue. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, the epilogue was nice.
No. I'm like, all right, fine. You know what? That's because the whole thing is like, okay, it gets better, it gets better, it gets better. And it didn't wrap up the way Marvel Phase 3 wrapped up, with that Avengers Assemble moment where you got that feeling of having a nice meal, but you're not overstuffed. I'm like, all right, cool. Now bring on the fish. Wait, we done? Wait, what? I said bring on the fish. Don't bring me to check.
That's it. Hold on. I thought we were going to do some more stuff.
I literally almost quoted De La Soul's second album. That's it. That's all.
That's it.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Man, look, De La Soul is Dead. It's a classic album. I will not take any arguments on that. It's a classic.
Look,
Right.
if my metalhead dude is referencing it 35 years later, there's got to be something to say about it. Feel me?
Yeah, it's a great album. It's funny. It's good raps. It's good beats. It's like, come on, man.
I think it was the first time that they really started putting skits on rap albums. But that's a different topic.
Yeah, they may be the first. I don't know. There's probably a hip hop historian somewhere, but I'm thinking they might be the first to do it like they were doing it. Like there might be someone who talked in between a song, but like the whole like picture book or storybook thing and the jokes in between, they might be first. I had to look that up. They might be first. But
either way,
this season,
yeah. I was mad. I was mad come the end because I'm like, man, this is such a good ending. There's no way they're gonna. There's no way they can pick it up. There's no way executives can go at them saying, the numbers on season 5 were great. You think you could give us 2 more seasons? Nope. No more story to tell.
Yeah, it's wow. It's they ended it off so well, and everybody. I think it's because everybody got closure. Everybody feels like they're in a good place.
Even Raynor, and he was only here for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Raynor here for 2 seconds. He's in a good place. Like there's no one who I think there's no one who I think ended up, on the, getting the raw end of the deal or, anything that everybody was happy, with where they were. And it was finally good to see that not only did, Book and Burnham get through their stuff, but they have a kid. He's the captain of his own ship now. She's passing on knowledge. They still got great chemistry, man. Then to see Zora get the send off and, it's a Red Directive thing.
That was going to be my big question with the whole thing. I'm like, how's Zora feeling about this? We ain't heard from her in a couple of bits.
Yeah, because there were a couple of times where I was like, Zora, do you want to chime in on this?
Like anytime. Like, okay, you're literally gonna wait until Zora gets hit in the kneecaps a couple of times to explode before you jump to make them think that you're dead. Smart move. How's Zora feel about that?
Yeah. That was a crazy. Also, the teamwork and the trusting of each other throughout this season, I mean, shoot, throughout the whole series, but throughout this season was paramount, especially since we added in Rainer. Ha ha, I get it. Yeah,
Crazy. Like you did that on purpose, didn't you?
I tried. No, but but adding Rainer in, them trusting each other, even even Tilly being like, "Look, we trust you. Do your thing." That type of stuff. It was awesome. Him being comfortable to sit in the chair because you saw dang, I can't remember the dude, the security officer or whatever. He was sitting in the chair like it was all good. Like
Yeah. He was giving us
I was like, you
a lot
comfy?
of Sulu vibes on that. Like,
Oh
he
man.
very much felt like a tribute to George Takei.
Yeah, like he was a little too comfortable in that seat, but nah, it was cool because they all trusted each other, and that's by and large, I love season five. Like there's so much with the progenitors, the messages, the conversations between the characters, whether you're talking about Stamets and Adira, or Tilly and Rayner, or Book and Hugh, like all of these conversations and like their relationships with each other are they feel real. Like this is a good cast that feels like they genuinely like working together.
I will back you on that. I will back you on that
Yeah.
100% because, you know, every long-term Trekkie knows that the cast didn't really start getting along until the next generation. you know,
Wow.
yeah, nobody likes Shatner, you know,
Dang.
specifically the, crew. Like, but, um, but yeah, this was a really okay. So on this show, we've talked many times
Hmm.
about Star Trek, and you and I have been talking about Star Trek properties for years now.
Hmm.
And I always bring up the 2 season footing find.
Hmm.
The first 2 season curse of every Star Trek show. This show had it. Um, Deep Space Nine had it. The Next Generation coined it. Enterprise had it. Voyager had it. You got a show that isn't animated from Star Trek, and it's gonna take a season or two to find its footing. You know, um, and this show had that. It definitely had that. Lost a lot of viewers in the first season with the Klingon thing and the double agents and the new makeup on the Klingon and stuff.
Yeah, the people did. I remember people did not like that. Like, see, because since I'm like a very casual, like I watched Star Trek because my mom watched Star Trek,
Uh
so
huh.
that was kind of my introduction. It was like I was watching it because my mom watched it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. They're in space doing stuff, so that's pretty much it. So I wasn't super turned off by that. I was just like, oh, okay, well, let's see what happens, and that was pretty much it. But I definitely remember online people were not happy about the Klingons, boy. I mean, they
Bruh.
were they were
And you
not
know
happy
what?
about that.
I was always kind of about criticism of this show because of all of the bad actors
Yeah, because there
that had
was there was a
criticisms of
lot
this show.
there was a lot of we just don't want somebody black in the foreground, and then also that
Specifically a black woman
yeah, like they
because
they
they weren't
were.
writing letters during DS9.
Oh really? Because he
Yeah.
I can't remember. He was can't remember the actor's name now, but
Avery
he
Brooks?
talked yeah, he talked about uh racism from fans at some event that he was at, and he was
Oh,
like it took a while for them to like accept him as a captain because they wanted a white guy doing it. I
yeah.
can't
And
remember what he was he at a convention. I remember seeing he was in an interview basically saying like yeah, the racism was kind of rough for a second, but it kind of died down.
okay. All right. So, see, I don't remember there being a whole lot of racist outlash
But see,
on
we
Deep
didn't
Space
have
Nine.
Twitter and stuff like that back then
Facts.
either.
I was just about to bring that up.
So basically,
Although,
he just saw the letters that probably came into the studio or something, or whatever, or people
yeah,
calling in and hating.
and I will put this out there, and Paramount, I really hope that this video goes viral after people like and subscribe, and
Mhm.
and Paramount gets their ears on this. but we're really establishing a precedent here where we've had how many shows between the original series, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery, and Strange New Worlds. So we're talking 7 live action shows.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That is a lot of shows. However, I've noticed that 2 of those shows essentially had black captains come season 3, and there's something that they've done with these shows that has always kind of stuck in my craw a little bit.
Okay.
When Star Trek the original series starts, Kirk is captain, Janeway is captain, Archer is captain, Picard is captain, Archer is captain, Pike is captain.
Yeah.
However, Cisco and Burnham were lieutenants, and we had to sit through a couple of seasons of watching them attain their rank. Like they have to earn the status in the eyes of the audience.
You need to earn it kind of thing.
That's what it feels like. That might not be where it comes from.
Well, it may also be something that's subconscious that they don't even realize that they're doing.
Yeah. So I'm literally,
because of course, there's a wide, varied scale of like of the general racism.
But I'm literally just.
But yeah, you're right. The whole
black characters.
We have to make sure you deserve it.
Because Cisco started off as a lieutenant, Burnham started off as a lieutenant, and then did a mutiny. And Cisco started off as a lieutenant who just got out of psychiatric care after Borg possessed Picard killed his wife.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of going, yo, guys at Paramount, a good amount of
have a black captain.
Can
they just be a captain from the start?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You know,
like we don't have to have,
because I will tell you this, I love Captain Burnham seasons 4 and 5.
Oh yeah.
I didn't need to see the blooming of Michael Burnham from the one who thought she was the smartest person in the room to the captain that is negotiating what to do with the power of all creation. And you know what? That's another thing. That's another thing. Oh my God, I'm being that guy. But another thing, I was kind of mad.
Okay.
And I'm glad they didn't go the direction that I thought they were, because I'm like, finally, we get a black captain in Deep Space Nine. And then, oh no, he ascends to godhood and he goes away forever. And now we've got Michael Burnham with the power of creation that she has to figure out what to do, and the offer to be the caretaker of it for the rest of time. I'm like, no, don't you dare.
She's just like, just throw it away.
Don't you dare make your other black captain in these franchises ascend to godhood and go away. And they didn't do that. They didn't do that. I'm like, okay.
She was just like, you know what? We don't need this power. It's all good.
Yeah, like, dude, we got diversity. Like, we pretty much, and I'm really glad that they threw that in on this show. That was, it's like, oh my God, the technology to create life, the technology to this, to that, to this. And I'm like, dude, y'all already got most of this. Like, Genesis was about making a planet. Granted, it wasn't stable, but yeah, the planet that Genesis made literally was made from a nebula, not a dead planet. That is godlike power. I mean, you already got the science that lets you turn matter into energy and back again without loss of memory.
And all you gotta do is just like double tap your communicator or whatever.
Bro, and the way that they were using teleportation in this show was the way that most lifelong Trekkies had always thought it should be used. It's like, come into my ready room, boom. Like, the sci-fi geek in me is going, why are there any doors on that ship?
Like there's no need for doors whatsoever. Just going
No
in,
doors,
just
no
go.
elevators, no nothing. Just, push the button, you're in the room.
Man, that okay, so since we're trying to keep this concise for y'all, and anyone please, of course, this is a whole season, so talk about it to us in the comments. We'll reply and talk about the season more. But there was one thing that really got to me in this season, and it could have soured the whole season for me, but it didn't.
Okay.
But it was close, and that was Moll.
Yeah.
Moll. Okay. Here's the thing with Moll. I don't know if it was how she was written, how she was directed, how she acted. Something I didn't buy it. Like I just didn't buy it. I didn't. I wasn't invested in her, like her quest at all. Even after Locke died, I didn't really believe the whole kind of mutiny, her being the Scion's wife thing, and them letting her be in control. I didn't really believe any of that, and it
Okay.
seemed like she was overacting, but in a bad way.
All right.
But I'm sure
So,
this woman can act because they hired her. Well, no, that's not always
so
a guarantee.
I remember
But
texting you on that part, and so here's where I sat with it. The actress is very good. The actress is very good. Um, However, the writing was a little subtle in the bad places. Now one, the director should be slapped for the makeup job they put on Moll because it was so distracting.
yeah, she just looked corny too. Like she
Well,
looked like
the mushroom
she
cut
looked like the
accentuated
emo
the
girl
wobble
that
head.
was trying too hard to show everyone that she was emo.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely with that. Yeah, I'm definitely there. The blonde did not do a good thing for her, and it really accentuated her wobbly head acting.
She did do some wobbly head acting, but
There was a lot of wobbly head, a
I don't
lot of
know
wobbly.
because I was like, I was watching the finale and just thinking, I love everything about this, but
Except her.
her. And then I started to think like, okay, maybe this could be done where she doesn't like her and Locke aren't even a thing. Like maybe take it to the uncle and maybe him thinking that this technology is his birthright through some kind of prophecy and he's like sort of a religious zealot to a certain degree and maybe it could work better that way. I was just like I don't care about
So
her
here,
and I
so
sort
here
of don't
was,
care about Locke either and then the acting didn't really
and see, this
help
is
it.
where I say that the writing was subtle in all of the wrong places. Okay, because we didn't care about Moll and Locke because we didn't know Moll and Locke.
Okay.
We knew where they came from, sorta.
And we saw that backstory a little bit.
Yeah, but real talk, it focused on the connection, and I believed their coupling.
Yeah.
However, it was a coupling of two people that I really knew nothing about. I mean, Locke's character was super entrenched on Brenian rights of succession, a topic that had never really been covered in a Star Trek show.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a race of people that are kind of brand new to us, or well, not brand new, but
No, they premiered in DS9.
yeah,
and
not brand new, but they've been gone for a while, and no one super cares about them. So it they don't have that on their side. So they're not like Romulans or Klingons. So they don't have that on their side.
not even like Ferengi, you know.
So they don't
mean,
have
we
that
know-
on their side, and
Yeah,
then,
we know nothing about the inner workings of their society, and we're finding
Yeah.
out over the course of this while we're following our antagonist who we have no emotional connection to.
Yeah, and I believe they're like you said. I believe their couple. Like when they did the backstory, I was like, oh, okay, I can see how y'all got together. I mean, I wouldn't I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is gonna work. But okay, you sold it. Fine, that works for me. But I was trying to like care, but I did not
Yeah,
care about.
and
I
and
cared a
yeah,
little bit about Locke
yeah.
to a certain degree, but when Maul was on her own, I was like, okay, I really don't like her, like the way she's written or something. I don't know what it is. Something
See,
is not clicking with me.
the script showed us that she was capable, she was sly, she was observant, and she was a really good opportunist. I liked how she took over the ship and had his uncle killed and all that jazz. I thought
Yeah,
that was very well done. The problem with her character was that we didn't fully understand her motivations, nor did we have enough information for a psych profile on her as an audience. You know, like, okay, she hated her father who raised Book. Why? Um,
we get like a little
she's
teeny piece about that, like
yeah,
kind of
she was
enough
a
just to say that they
smuggler.
did it.
Yeah, and it was really like, okay, this chick is really messed up, and we're gonna follow her. So what messed her up? Why do we care? How is her messed up different or similar to how I'm messed up? And we didn't get any of that. And every time you get um antagonist or foils or whatever, you get it. You know, you get that Loki is the passed over second son who found out that he was adopted and not the golden child. Like, he always knew he wasn't the golden child in Odin's eyes, but then he found out that he was adopted. That's messed up. You
Yeah,
know, he found out everything in his life was a lie. You felt for Loki, which is why he got his own show. Um, with Khan, um, anybody who saw the episode of Space Seed was drowning in exposition as to what happened during the eugenics wars. But then in Wrath of Khan, um, even though you didn't get his whole history, you got that he hated Kirk. And
yeah,
when
true.
he and Kirk had that conversation, he's like, dude, um, you sent me at, you put me on a planet to conquer him and myself, but it really felt like, you left me there to die. You had to know that the sun was going to mess up and that, the sun was going to expand and kill everything on Earth or on the planet that you left me on. And you never came to check. Like, I'm mad at you because you screwed me, you know? And all that comes out in the movie. So you were able to get, like, you know, every decent villain has a point. It might not be 100%, but in the words of our boy Anthony Cut the Check Mackie, he's out of line, but he's right. And we never got that with Moll.
Not
We
at
never
all.
got anything about him. We got a little bit with Locke, where, like, we saw his relationship with his uncle and how his uncle was a jerk and how he just wanted to get away. That's why we identified a little bit more with Locke, because we know the jerky dad and the jerky stepdad or the jerky grandfather. We get the idea of, I don't want to be here, I'm going to run away. Way down, but we don't get anything like that with Moll. So
Not at,
yeah,
not not at any believable level. Like I mean, I guess I could say they tried with the small conversations that she had with Book, but even those conversations weren't as in depth as I thought they would be.
yes,
And yeah, I ended up being like, I love this show. I really don't care that she's here. And now that Locke's dead, I really don't like. In my head, I started being like, okay, well, maybe if it was written like this and they didn't even exist, maybe if it was the uncle and the uncle was there the whole time and it was the
yeah,
uncle, and then we cut out this like love story thing, and we just have like this kind of like either cult of military or cult of politics or like religious zealot type character who's like, I deserve the progenitors, you know, technology because it's my right by whatever. Because I was just like, I'm tired of her on the screen.
Yeah, and honestly, it's funny because the very next episode, right, or the episode that really made me know that I was emotionally connected to Moll in a bad way, okay, was when they were on the Discovery and they were held prisoners, and the president and the president of Vulcan and diplomatic action Saru and Michael Burnham literally got them free.
Bruh, I was like,
and they messed everything up because they just couldn't sit down. Yeah, I'm just like, do you realize what you just did?
Like, she just became annoying. You know, but I'll you know what I'm saying, I'll chill on that because I know people, you know, they don't want to hear us talk about Moll the whole time, so I'll chill on that. But I did want to say that was one thing that kind of bothered me. But outside honestly, of that,
I hope to see her in Section 13 if that ever gets a show, and I hope they give her a little bit more page time so that we can see what messed her up.
Yeah, or at least just give her a great relationship with whoever like her partner will be, or something. Like maybe if she's working with Michelle Yeoh's character or something like that, then maybe
or Cronenberg,
you know, yeah, you know, that'll be cool to see how she plays off someone else, because she wasn't interesting to me, and then Locke just kind of following her around because he was so in love. It's like, well, you're following someone, but I don't think they're interesting. You think they're interesting, but they haven't shown us why she's interesting. So I mean, I'm glad. It's kind of like that friend, like, I'm glad you like her, but I don't see it. It's like I don't see it, and I don't like her. Like, yes, I'm here because, you know, I respect you and I'm cool and I'm gonna be nice to her and stuff, but I don't see it. I don't dig her, and I don't know. It's something I don't like about it. It's like, yo, Locke, leave this girl alone. The girl is trouble from the outset.
Yeah.
Like, but
yeah, and honestly, she could have been so much more. She could have been definitely so much more if she'd gotten some page time. Now,
go ahead.
I was thinking about the Red Directives. I do like them. I do like the Red Directives. I thought that was a really, really good addition to this season.
Yeah, I like the fact that we now know where kind of Section 13 plays in. Sort of like what, I guess, what makes them, you know, organize or whatever, or get out the bed. And we also see the term and the extent that I guess that part of the Federation is willing to go when it comes to the Red Directive. Because we see it's like, hey, look, whatever you got to do, just get it done.
Yeah, but civilian casualty, shh, just get it done.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Just get it done. We'll figure out everything after it's over.
Yeah, we'll file the paperwork. Don't you worry. Just get it done.
Oh, I did want to. Speaking of the Red Directive, and speaking of you know, the Star Trek CIA. So, who is Agent Daniels? Because I figured you would know.
You know, I meant to look him up because I'm like, Daniels. I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because I gotta say, as much guff as I'm giving the writers, and yeah, I gotta give him guff. That was one of the coolest ways to slide in member berries that I've ever seen.
Yeah, and honestly, if this gets to any of the writers, we're really only mad about one character. Everything else is sweet.
Oh man!
Like if you kind of ignore Moll, like the rest of the season is sweet.
Because yeah, that whole thing of like, she's actually in his office, and I'm like, oh look, that's a bottle of Picard's wine. Oh my god, that's Cisco's baseball. She does not have Jordy's head thing.
Yeah,
um,
that I was like, hold up, where did he get that?
and
I was
he's
like, this
like,
is
oh, I've
how
been
you do this
around.
stuff. So the
And
whole
yeah,
mini lives and everything, I was like, this is interesting. All right, so I like they've done a good job of building mystique around that character.
right.
So I'm definitely down with the whole Section 13 Red Directive thing. I think it's cool, and now they've set a precedent for what they can do in the Section 13 show, where it's like, hey, we only mobilize on like you know I don't know, like DEF CON 2000 things. Like that's the only thing we mobilize on. So like every episode is going to be crazy because we only get out of bed for like the real stuff.
Ah.
Well, assuming I'm not sure for real, but that would be cool. Um, let's see. One thing I wanted to touch on. I want to get your thoughts about the library episode, especially with kind of coming to terms with herself. How did you like how that played out
I liked it a
with the
great deal.
labyrinths and stuff?
I liked it a great deal. I liked all of the clues, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Um, all of the clues that were put on in this being like internal exploration. Anyone who has had a conversation with me on my channel or in real life knows that I contemplate the nature and responsibility of power.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically in the library episode, watching Captain Burnham like really have to come to terms with who she is. Now, the magic mirror gate has always been one of my favorite tropes. Very few people in the world are practiced in using insight to come to terms with who they are. Okay, so few people are. Most people think they're a certain way, but they don't really know. And with that whole thing being, all right, so I'm only given the key to somebody who really understands themselves. Like warts and all. Most of the time when we look at ourselves, we either see everything that's wrong and nothing good. And the ones of us that are hard to deal with, we see all the good and nothing bad.
Yeah.
But it's very, very rare that we see people. Oh, and of course the third category are the people that want to present what's good because they see the bad and they're ashamed of it.
Oh yeah. Because there is that whole kind of like embarrassment, shame thing.
And opposed to, all right, this is who I am. These are the improvements that I feel I got to make. Even though that my bad parts do serve good purposes every once in a while, and my good parts get me into trouble every once in a while. How do I feel about that? And I'm going, whoa, this must be a last season episode because shows are not willing to go through that kind of internal monologue. And they made this the whole plot.
Yeah, this was the whole episode. But the thing I liked about Labyrinths as an episode is normally that could be boring, but they attached a time, a ticking clock to
ticking clock. Yep.
Yeah, they attached the time clock to it, which helped it get pushed ahead. And then, of course, dealing with, all right, the Breen are on the way. We don't know if they're going to make it here or not. Oh, no, they made it here. All right, so what do we do? So they kept us, interested along the way, which is something that I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Because they could have just straight up just had us in the library, and that probably could have been boring. But having book present from her mind, her talking a book, and it kind of the program kind of not helping her slash helping her. Those things kept it engaging enough where I was like, this is a well done episode. Like, this is an
Very
episode
well
that could have
done.
been boring and it ended up being cool.
Yeah. And again, very well done. Very well done.
Yeah.
I particularly like that when she surrendered herself to death and had that insight, she had no idea that she passed the test.
Yeah, she was just like, well, I guess I failed, whatever.
And
Like,
he's like,
I'll
nah,
have to
you
figure
good.
out another way.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's what we were looking for. We were looking for someone who's willing to look at themselves, look at their situation, and be, honest with themselves about where they are. Which is cool, which is something that we all need to do sometimes.
Especially when we're on the search for power.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
why do I want this job? Why do I want this? Why is this actually so important? You know, and what would
Yeah.
I do with it once I got it? Am I the
Right.
type of person that would use it for good? Am I the type of person who would try to use it for good and end up doing more harm than good? Would
Yeah.
I get drunk on power? You know,
Or
it's
is it
like,
one of those situations where it's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's like, no, we can't have you.
I mean, it's something I think about all the time because I'm in so many comic book discussions where it's like, well, what would you do with these powers? I'm like, me, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I would be afraid to use that power because all I would need is a bad day. And if I had a bad day, then I would use that power.
And like with me, what worries me about using powers is like, say if I was to have any number of powers from, Marvel, DC, whatever, Marvel, DC, any of those teams or characters, it's like, what super sub level secret basement am I going to be in where they're going to be experimenting on me for the rest of my life?
So
Because
you're afraid of external
because I
influences
don't
on that
because
power.
I don't trust any government. Sooner or later, I'm gonna be some kind of lab rat somewhere where I can't get out, and they're gonna be like testing my blood and stuff, and
See,
poking and prodding me forever.
fact, I'm petty. And, like I'm already an inch away from being a villain at any particular time. So
Because I could see them being like, "Oh, who's this person just helping people for nothing?" And then it's like, "Oh, he doesn't want to join the military. Why shouldn't he want to? He's not. He's not a patriot. He's not a real American." Well, I could just see. I could see that happening. And the next thing I
Mm.
know, I'm in some super sub level basement with a whole bunch of white coats around me, and all they're doing is just like, taking hair samples, blood samples, saliva samples, trying to replicate it because, of course, they want to make the next soldier.
See, you're assuming that you'd get caught, but then I know what powers I would take. And let's just say this 20-year flashback. Um, notice Doctor Strange wasn't in Civil War.
True, true.
You know, do you know the reason why he wasn't?
I don't know. He was like, "Yo, I'm out there in Kamikaze or whatever, just chilling. I ain't got nothing to do with y'all."
No, he left. He left Earth. He went to the blue side of the moon and started kicking it with Uatu the Watcher. He's like, this is y'all problem,
I ain't got nothing to do with y'all.
you know. And the Watcher was like, you could end this with a snap of a finger. He's like, oh, I know. And he's like,
Like,
you're
that's
not.
on
He's like,
them.
not my fight. This is for them to work out. I go back when they fix it all.
But yeah, I think that was a well played. The whole thing for power and like why she wants power and trying to figure out the kind of person this is or people it is that's looking for this. So I like that. I definitely dug that.
Yeah.
And I also like this is that episode Labyrinths is where I started to enjoy the Breen power structure more than I liked Moll. So
Really?
that's when I started being like, maybe if this was rewritten in another way. Because I'm not against the whole Tahal and I forgot Locke's uncle, I forgot his name, but I'm not against this whole thing. Maybe if it was a situation where the Breen or maybe someone in the Breen thought they had a spiritual right to this thing, and then Maul can get out of here and we don't have to like I started like being like, yeah, we don't really need her anymore.
See,
But
in Face the Strange, they gave us a really good reason why the Breen shouldn't get their hands on that tech.
oh yeah, they
You
definitely
know,
did.
because they're like, if the Breen gets their hands on the tech, they're going to destroy everything. There we go. All right, moving on.
I mean, we saw it
Um,
with the way they handled the library. Like, I mean, the uncle was ready to just blow the library away just because.
which I was a little upset with because they mentioned something in the library, and I'm like, oh, let me see this. Um, Again, it goes back to that nature of power. Because it's like, look, we got all this stuff and we are neutral. Okay? We are neutral. We don't care about your petty squabbles. We have all of the data.
Yeah.
But we have an oubliette. And for those of you guys out there that don't know the term, it is a place to put things to forget about them. And I'm like, that is how they enforce their neutrality. And I was really hoping to see the Breen be like, we're going to do this or burn down the library. Hey, where'd the Breen go? We put them in the oubliette. As we said, we are neutral and we are here to protect the data.
Yeah.
But that would have been too easy.
Yeah. Yeah, because then if they did, you would have to bring in Tahal and she would have to like sort of play catch up story wise. So yeah, yeah, I can understand them not doing it, but it would have been cool. Oh, what did you think about the crazy plan that people said was crazy a million times? Um, when they were like, "Oh, well, how about we just go on the ship and steal it? Take two teams and they'll be fine. You just ram the ship and then you can just beam us all back on board."
So facts. I didn't really care too much about the plan.
Oh,
What I
okay.
liked was that they really showed Rayner's respect for Michael Burnham.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because she was sending all these messages that my Spectrum butt would have missed. And Rayner's like, oh no, you see, she's talking about this one story that was this. So yeah, she wants us to jettison them out into space and then pick them up later. Until he's like, I'm sorry, what? It's like, dude, she's done this before, right? Well, yeah, but
The
how'd you
plan
get
is
it?
already crazy. We're super behind enemy lines, and we don't really have any help. This dreadnought can't be beat by the Discovery, even though I slightly want to argue that it can, due to, was it season 2 or was it season 1, where the spore drive was used to like pretty much pull a Nightcrawler on another ship.
Oh,
And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, that scene was crazy. I think it was, they were fighting against the Klingons, and like they were pretty much just Nightcrawler in that episode.
oh yeah,
And
the
it
bam
was like,
bam bamping. In
yeah,
truth,
and like just
I
shooting
like
at
what they
phasers
did.
and like torpedoes and just bamfing all over the place. I was like, yo, this is what a ship like this should do. Also, the ship is kind of OP with that.
Kinda.
They sort of explained it away because they were like, this took so much energy. But I was like, yeah, but you still got it in the back pocket if you need it, though, right?
Yeah, see, honestly, the bamf thing, nah, because the Breen Dreadnought has serious shields.
Uh,
But that whole, all right. So since the Next Generation came out and they split the ship into two, they have to work that into every single show. I think Voyager did it once. However, splitting the ship into two and then making a teleport line, I'm like,
yo, that was
all
crazy.
right, we have officially become overpowered. They cannot.
When they were like, okay, so check it, we gonna teleport them and I think we could do it. I was like, can y'all do that? I was like, I mean, I guess. I was like,
Yes,
I mean, this is pseudoscience anyway, so let's go for it.
that's the thing. No, it's not. They were using string theory.
I mean,
They were
yeah,
literally talking about quantum entanglement.
but the
And-
reason I call it pseudoscience and like fringe science is because it's like we haven't done it. So I mean,
Okay.
since we haven't done it before, I mean,
That's fair.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, that
Do
part
you
is
want to be
fair.
the first person to try? I
And
wanna
the
be
answer
like the
is
2050th person to try. Be like,
Look,
all right,
the answer
so y'all
is
got it down
yes.
pat, right? So nobody, no limbs, anything flew. So you got it down. Okay, cool.
And see, this is pretty much why I'm practically exiled from our people, because I don't have that sense of caution. And not gonna lie, I say it all the time. Cisco is my captain, but Pike is really catching up.
Pike
the
is nice.
Defiant
I got
is my
love for
favorite.
him.
Huh?
I said Pike is nice. I got love for him.
Yeah. The Defiant is my favorite ship. However, I would fit best on the Discovery because of the nature of what it is, which is a starship full of mad scientists. We keep forgetting that they are all mad scientists.
True. And see,
I mean, we
I'm
got
on
a
the-
Tony
I'm on the
Stark,
fence.
we
If
got a
I'm on
Rick
the outside
Sanchez.
looking in, like
Uh-huh.
I'm on the fence because I've been in situations where, not science situations like this, but I've been in situations where some crazy things have happened, and if I have time to think about it, I'm like, guys, let's not do this. But if I don't have time, like if something's already going on, craziness is going on in the atmosphere, I'm like, it'll be all right. So it's like you have to catch me if we're already in a situation, like let's say I was in a brawl a long time ago. I don't know. Let's just say possibly I was in a brawl at a club a long time ago, and I was like, it'll be all right. Like, we'll be fine. It's like, how are you going to go get that person? How do you know they're in there? How can you? I'm like, look, I know he's in there. It'll be all right. Like, so it kind of depends where I'm at with the situation.
Yeah.
If I have any emotional time, like, I'm like, going behind enemy lines, they're going to do the shields and we're going to go, transport out. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
We do this
again,
stuff all the
I'm
time.
good with that because they'd already done it. I mean,
Like,
how
it'll
can
be
I
all
put
right.
this? Every Star Trek captain, from Kirk to Burnham now, spends way too much time on away missions. However,
Yeah.
Burnham has spent the most time literally outside the ship. Just like, hey, look, I can knock on a window. Either floating in
Wow.
space or wearing an angel time travel suit or something.
Oh yeah, because future her was no, was it future her or was it her mom? I think her mom came back. Because her mom was the Red Angel, right?
Her mom was the first Red Angel. She was the second.
Oh yeah, I forgot. She became because of that. Because time gets gets convoluted when you start doing time stuff. So yeah, she was the second Red Angel.
And again, she spends a lot of time floating in space. So the fact of the matter is, when the plan was ram them, break down the thing, and let them get blown out the airlock. Yeah, sure.
It's like,
that's
someone
page
in lower decks is
167.
like someone brand new in lower decks is like, yo, can you do this? Like, oh yeah, man, you do it all the time. It's crazy.
Again, ship full of mad scientists.
Yo, it's gonna be
But-
fire and a whole bunch of stuff is gonna break, but we gonna be all right.
Yeah, but splitting the ship up into two, I'm like, okay, number one, the fact that they bamped someone else is
Yeah.
horrifying.
And when were you gonna tell us that you could do this?
That was the thing. They didn't know. I mean, this was masterful acting. When Rayner was like, all right, well, isn't there a way that we can do this thing until he's like, no, it's impossible. Well, except for nah,
And then
that's just
Stamets
crazy.
was like, well, maybe. So
And Stamets was like,
also,
no, we can't do well.
also, I love the statement of like, don't give me the science, just tell me the problem. Or something. Like, I don't
Because
don't need it, just tell
Rayner
me what
is
it
he was the only member. He was the sheriff from Eureka. He was in a nutshell, he is the non-mad scientist on the crew. He became the audience insert at that point.
Yeah, because he's
And
like he's on a science vessel, but he's very much a military guy.
oh yeah,
So it's like now you got the military guy on a science vessel with science people that have done combat stuff, but not from a military perspective.
no, they've done military stuff from a survival perspective, and
Yeah.
that's what makes them dangerous because they're not about shoulda. And again, it's where should we transport them? Oh, to the galaxy's edge. And oh my god, that was so cruel.
Man,
That was
the
straight
galactic
up petty.
barrier line was perfect.
That was so petty.
He said it's more than they gave my parents. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's
So,
hey,
Okay.
because I would have been like into the nearest star.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
let's solve this
But,
problem right now.
Yeah, no. Again, it's how you do understand how bad that is. Like how bad what he did was, right?
Well, he said it a couple decades to get back, but they'd be all right.
Bro, what happened to Voyager in the next quadrant?
I mean,
They were just 7 years out. He put them 4 to 5 times farther away.
they've got rations and stuff. They'll be fine. I mean, if don't Breen live a long time, so they'll be good. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Yeah, but what are they gonna find out there?
oh yeah, because they will be on their own.
Yeah.
I mean, they
And
have
how
a
they-
dreadnought, but they'll be on their own.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, Voyager was set 7 years far away at maximum warp. They put them 26 to 30 years. And when Voyager got back, they had all that tech and a captain that had pretty much become a space pirate in a uniform. So, what's gonna happen to that ship?
They'll probably end up. They'll probably end up gone by then. They'll be dead. They'll probably be dead by then.
If we are lucky.
Yeah. But since we're coming up on time, I'm gonna kick it to you. Hit me with final thoughts of the season and where can they find you?
Final thoughts on this season. It was literally a full house. It really was.
Mhm.
Now I can't give it a royal full house. I cannot give it that. Okay, it was not a royal straight flush, or it was just a royal full, or it was just a full house because they dropped the ball a lot with Moll's backstory. However, every other aspect of the show was on point, including the stuff that we didn't get to talk about in this show, so you guys are going to have to watch it, being the politics, the character development,
Yep.
because all I got to say is hooray for Doug Jones. You have come a long way since Hellboy.
Shouts out to Action Saru.
Bruh. And yeah, the politics of this show was honestly on the same level as Game of Thrones. I know you haven't seen it, but y'all out there hit me up in the comments because you know. I was very impressed with it, and on one hand, I'm glad that they pulled out so many stops because it's last season. So it's what are they going to do? Cancel us? But I hate that it's the last season because I hope that their next show, or when they repick up Strange New Worlds, that the writing is this strong from season 2 of the next Star Trek show, because this was some of the best Star Trek writing I have seen.
It's solid. It really is.
Yeah,
it really is solid.
It's tungsten levels of solid. And y'all can find me over at BidP Blurred on YouTube, and of course twitch.tv/BID_P. All right. But yeah, and again, hit us up in the comments on this video. I do check them. I do answer.
Yeah, definitely holla at us, because I mean it's always great to see where you guys are at, whether it's Action Saru or any of the politics and stuff that get brought in. So this always dope.
Oh, can I give a shout out to somebody?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Major shout out to Andre Atkins.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, Andre, you are a good man, and thank you so much for listening to our stuff, interacting with our stuff, and just being a solid guy, dude. I need to buy you some coffee.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
definitely. So yeah, I guess on my side, I love this show. I do. I've loved this show for a long time. I'm on the other hand, since of course I didn't have a huge I guess a huge tie-in to all of the previous lore. I love this show from the first minute, but I will admit that when we got to season 3, there was a definite direction change in the show. Like but I mean, coming in the show, I already like Sonequa Martin Green, I already like Michelle Yeoh, and in Star Trek, I'm a watch. And then when we start the show and like essentially an international incident is thrown off, so I'm like, oh snap, we got bombs and stuff, let's roll. So so I've liked this show since the start. It's only gotten better and better. I think jumping in the future is something that was awesome for the show, something that I think a lot of properties should do. And it's something that I got from at least in my knowledge, I got from Valiant Comics. Valiant Comics did a run called 4001 AD, where they jumped all of their stories and books into the year 4000 or beyond the year 4000, where it's like, okay, now these characters that have taken on these mantles or whatever, basically we don't have to worry about that stuff. Marvel kind of did it with 2099 for a little bit,
and DC did it with 1 million.
Okay. See, I never knew about that. So okay, cool. So with stories like that, I like jumping in the future where, okay, we're so far in the future so that we don't have to really worry about stepping on anyone's toes. So I hey, look, if you can do it as well as this show, I suggest it to Star Wars. I suggest it to any property. Shoot, I mean, even though I don't watch it, Harry Potter. I mean, let's see. I like the fact when we're able to go into the future, show new stuff, but without having to stomp on anything old. Or, where you have like the Old Republic go back so far. So, we've gone, say we go back 3,000 years. Like, we can do this story without having to worry about, Kirk, or worrying about Luke Skywalker, or worrying about, whatever doctor you like best or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So I like those kind of storylines. So when they jumped in the future, I was like, let me see how they handle this. And I liked it even more. So I've loved this show for a long time. Star Trek, in my opinion, is back in a very good way. I wasn't super big on Picard, but I do think it was well produced as far as like how it looked. I love Strange New Worlds. I love Lower Decks. I love Prodigy, and I love Discovery. I can't believe that they're just going to let Prodigy go like that, but that's a whole other thing. So with that said, this show is awesome. It's fire, and I cannot wait to see more from Strange New Worlds, because that show is also fire. So holler at me. I'm gonna holler at you down in the comments. Let's talk Star Trek Discovery. Shoot, let's talk Star Trek as a whole. I mean, now, honestly, I've only watched Discovery and Deep Space Nine all the way through. Then Star Trek New Generation or Next Generation was me watching it as my mom watched it on cable. So I watched a lot of reruns, and I've probably, since the way cable was back then, I've probably only really seen 10 episodes. And
I'll go as far as to say
it was just rerun a million times. So because that's what I found out when I rewatched Deep Space Nine. I'm like, oh, so I've watched a lot of like the same episode. Like I've only seen like maybe like 15 episodes of the whole series. But yeah, let's talk Star Trek. Holler at me. And until the next time, I guess make sure that you keep your pseudoscience and your fringe science on point, because you never know when you might need it. Never know. So any idea, SUL, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all them things, holla at us. And just hey, look, make sure keep your head on a swivel because the green might be around the very next corner. Peace.